Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Inspiration to Achieve. It's the end of June. I'm actually excited, regardless of the weather. This is a kind of a month where you had half of the sunshine and you probably had to bottle it so that you will keep it for the rest of the month because it's rained cats and dogs and more cats all over the place in the UK here. But if you've bottled your sunshine, you bring it. So I want to bring sunshine to you for the last day today on Inspiration to Achieve. And Inspiration to Achieve is where we share how to help you turn your aspirations to transformation and inspire others. It is about providing insights to help you to achieve your life and business goals as well as thrive. My name is Patience Ogunbona, and I'm the host of Inspiration to Achieve. I'm also known as the Visionary Introverted Woman, which means that I am passionate about empowering introverted women to increase their impact, influence, and income by developing unwavering self-belief and business mindset and business strategies, leadership skills that they can use to achieve success on their own terms. So usually with Inspiration to Achieve, I absolutely love to have rich conversations. So wherever you're watching this from, feel free to connect, feel free to comment, and feel free to join the conversations. But aside that, it's exciting that you would not just be hearing from me, but I have with me today a guest. And my guest is very special to me because we have a close relationship, which we'll talk about. And, she's very important to the topic we're going to talk about today, which is the power of ambition. All of June, I've been focusing on helping my audience, be it introverted women, be it, hi Gary on LinkedIn, thanks for joining us. So be it introverted women, be it introverts in general, be it anybody that follows me across different platforms. It's all about how do you amplify your ambition? It's time to raise the bar. If you've played small, it's time to look at how you can go big or keep growing into your full potential. And that is what we want to talk about today. The topic for today is the power of ambition. So let me introduce very quickly, tell you a little bit about Suzi before I bring her on and why she's important as a guest for this topic. So I met Suzi networking. Yeah, I know introverts don't always network, but I've done a few networkings in my time, and they've led to very good, solid relationship, deep relationships with are great at as well. So our relationships or our connections tend to lead to good quality relationships, and this is one of them. And what struck me about Suzi was her drive. She had ultimate, complete belief in what she was saying, the product, and what she had to offer. And I got enamored by that. So after the second time of meeting her, I said, you just have to come around and have conversations even more with the people I know. I belong to the John Maxwell team. And one of the things we say is, who do you know that I should know? So that is the key. So let me tell you a bit about Suzi. Basically, she's an independent Tropic Ambassador and Leader or within the Tropic team for over for the last 6 years. And she's passionate about helping people and making a difference through empowering beauty, which is what Tropic is. She has a team of 90 independent Tropic ambassadors running their own ethical beauty business on their terms, helping to create healthier, greener, more empowered world and a more empowered world together. And I'm one of them. I'm one of her team, and I'm proud to say that I am. So she found her voice after 50 years of being held back by a narcissistic father through wildish camping, poetry, and finding faith, which I love. We have that in connection, faith. Now she helps other women overcome the blocks holding them back, and find their voice so they too can step up and shine. So I'm sure you're thinking, I want to meet Suzi already. Stop the introductions. So I'm thinking, me too. So let's welcome Suzi. So Suzi Fish is our guest today on Inspiration to Achieve, Having Rich Conversations. Welcome, Suzi.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Patience, and thank you for inviting me.
And what I really like is that with your name, you always put a fish by the side. I love it so much. Every time I see it, or when I tag you, I'm so like a child who's like, ooh, excited just to see the fish come along. So that's a brilliant tip. There's nothing for patience really. Maybe an angry face that gets happy. Maybe.
Maybe. Well, it's funny. As a child, I always wanted to change my name because you can imagine I was, teased with a name like that. But now it's really useful, and it goes very well with my tropical team of fishes as well. So yeah.
Oh really yes, I'm one of the fishes.
You are.
You went. And you reeled us in. So yeah, that brings me to really, you've talked a bit about childhood. So tell us a bit about your story and how you came to do the business that you're doing currently.
So, you've kind of shared a lot of it there, but basically it's knowing where to start because you kind of like preempted what I was going to say. But I came across Tropic 6.5 years ago, and it was at a time in my life where I'd been working somewhere where there was a real clash of values for me. Lack of integrity, got quite unwell and stressed, and forced to sanction people, and not very nice atmosphere at all. And I was made redundant to save money, which was great because it was my route out. And it's like, what do I do now? And I knew I wanted to work for myself, and I didn't know what. And I discovered through a friend Tropic, and I became an ambassador. It was the best decision of my life, and I realised that it ticked every single one of my values. And it's been an interesting journey the last 6.5 years, I would say, because there's been lots of personal development. There's been lots of layers I've needed to shed, and we're all on our own journey. And I think that what I've been through has made me who I am today, and made me a stronger person, and in a place that I can come from empathy to help others. And so that's really what I'm up to. I'm up to empowering mainly women, but not necessarily these days, to empower them to find their voice, to get rid of the blocks that are holding them back, and become who they're meant to be.
So that's interesting. As well as, would you say, because obviously I introduced myself and said that my niche is empowering introverted women, be it entrepreneurs and professionals, to really thrive, bottom line. So would you say that you're introverted, extroverted, or ambivert?
I would say I'm more introverted, but with a bit of ambivert introvert in there as well, because I do need people. I do need to be around people, but I also definitely need that time alone to recover.
We've almost lost you there. Yeah.
So I'd say I'm kind of a little bit of both, but more towards the introverted side, which a lot of people are surprised about because they see me, here, I'd possibly come across as confident, but that's because I used to be a member of Toastmasters International. So I developed tools to know how to come across, like a swan. Underneath it, all sorts of things are going on, but, I come across perhaps, hopefully, fingers crossed, a little bit calmer but yeah, I definitely say I need that time to myself and more of a introverted way of doing things.
Yeah. And I like what you said about, you kind of mentioned a key word there, which is confidence. And usually it's like, oh, people are born confident. But obviously you've just mentioned I attended Toastmasters. So it's like we always know that when you need to build confidence, you have to find tools, you have to find strategies. Absolutely. And would you say that basically what we're talking about today is really being ambitious, or what is the power of ambition? So basically, does the word ambition, does it resonate with you? And if so, how have you used it in your life?
So this is really interesting because when you invited me to come on here, you said it's about ambition, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because ambition can come across with negative connotations. I think it can come across as being ruthless, macho. It's like, oh no, you don't want to be ambitious. And I think particularly for women, we can hold ourselves back. And it kind of reminded me of, I have people say to me, oh no, I don't want to be a pushy salesperson, because they have this outdated 80s image of, the pushy salesman in the home for 12 hours trying to sell a vacuum cleaner. But the original definition of sales was to serve, to help others. And I think, so it's about perception. And I think actually ambition, when you look at the real meaning of it, which is a strong wish to achieve something, then absolutely, I think all of us in life need that ambition, need that purpose, that desire to kind of fuel us, to keep us going. So yeah, I absolutely do relate to that definition of ambition. And I think I have a strong desire to help people, to make a difference in people's eyes, to turn on that light bulb. When you see in their eyes, they're just bing, and it's like amazing, and you've made a difference to that person. But as a Christian, I also know now that you don't always know how you impact on others. So I think if you just do good and serve others, and along the way you'll be hopefully helping, inspiring, developing others, but you won't necessarily know how that is. So I think if you just do good by others all the time, then that makes a difference.
I like that definition, which is, and by the way, as everybody who is watching, it's very important, and I would have loved to start with a question. So ask yourself the question: how ambitious am I, or what does ambition mean to me? Because you use the word strong desire. But of course, there is different levels of heat that people apply to certain things. And so you might start off thinking, I want to do something. And then gradually you turn up the heat, turn up the temperature, you perhaps to cook it faster. So when we talk about, let's bring in Tropic, our joint love of Tropic, and our joint love of empowering natural beauty. So in terms of maybe how you've turned up the ambition in the work that you do in growing your team to 90, in actually achieving some great things within Tropic, I want to hear that, because every year, as far as I'm concerned, since I met you, you hit those targets and go on those trips, on those holidays. And what people want to know is practically that journey of how ambition looks to you, and how you used that to fuel yourself to achieve those things that you've achieved, grow your team, get the incentives, and go on beautiful holidays to Cambodia and all that, to Hawaii and everything else, loads that you have done. And also what you've not mentioned, which I know, is that you've actually done a bit of traveling around the world, an adventurous person. So maybe share some key nuggets there about how ambition is turned up, how ambition works in your life, and where it's brought you so far. So share your stories.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really key there, because from the age of 9, I always wanted to travel. So I used to save up all my birthday money, my holiday money, etc. And I went traveling. Well, I went interrailing for a month after school, and then after university, I went around the world twice for 27 months in all, as you do. And so that's what drove me up until that time when I went traveling. And then when I came back, it's like, gosh, what do I do now? And I'd moved to London, and I ended up drifting into temping, because that's what everyone did then when they didn't know what else to do. And I ended up working my way up the ladder, and I was good at being an executive assistant. However, it was never really my bag. It never really floated my boat. I didn't like being subservient to others, as I say. And so I drifted for most of my life, because I didn't have that goal, that ambition after I'd been traveling. And when I look back, it's like, oh my gosh, if I think about that time, I kind of wasted in a way. And it wasn't until I engineered redundancy from a large corporate firm that I've been working at, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but I did start to have an idea of wanting to inspire and develop others and impart knowledge, which I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that's what I wanted to do. And through a friend, as I say, I got a job as an employability trainer, so helping to work with long-term unemployed, to build their confidence, to get them back into work, which is similar to what I do now in a way. And it's when that light bulb goes on, that's when I realized, yeah, that's what I like doing, inspiring, developing others. And I got to do that through Toastmasters as well. And then I discovered Tropic, and I was definitely heart drawn to Tropic. But I wasn't still in a position there yet to kind of really make a go of it, because my personal development journey, I needed to find a coach. I think having a coach or a mentor is really, really important, because you need someone that 100% believes in you and supports you and has your back and tells you you're amazing even when you don't feel like it. Sees that spark in you that you might not be able to see yourself. So I think coaching is really important. I actually hit 50 last year as well. So I started to ask the big questions. Who am I? What am I up to? Where am I headed? And I needed to take some time out because I couldn't celebrate my birthday with people, being during the pandemic. So I went wildish camping for 5 nights on my own. And that helped me to ground myself, connect myself, because I lived most of my life disassociated. And it just from nowhere, this poem came out of me. And I think finding a creative outlet is really important, because that helps you for me, it helped unveil stuff from my past that I didn't know about, but also to unlock my emotions and feelings and tap into myself. And I think it's really important with ambition that you know who you are, you know what you're up to, you know where you're headed. And so poetry has helped me do that. And I actually published my poetry journey, and I've now published over 375 poems in the last 10 months or so. So obviously I had a lot to say that I didn't realize over the last 50 years. And also another key element of my life that's helped me to identify who I am and helped me with my purpose and my ambition is faith as well. So I found faith during last year, and I'm learning to lean on God and learning to kind of give my concerns and worries to God. And I think having, so I recommend everyone to go on an Alpha course, whether they're of faith or not. But I think just when we get to a certain stage and starting to realize, well, who am I? What am I up to? I think it's really important to kind of reach out. And some people it might be reach the universe, or to others it might be faith. And I think finding that something bigger that you're a part of, that you believe in, is key. And I think all of that has, I've got to a place now where, yes, I have drifted in my life, and I haven't had a voice, and I've been stagnated, I guess, but now I'm very clear about what I'm up to and where I'm headed, and that ambition of in a way that's of generosity towards others. That's in a way that is that I want to having empathy and compassion because of what I've been through to be able to help others, and also kind of realizing that. I'm not sure if we're kind of going off tangent a little bit here, but in terms of bringing it back to ambition, I think know yourself. Yeah. Know where you're headed, and remind yourself every day of what you're up to. And I think and be aware of what gives you joy and how you thrive. And if you need to take some time out, and I go wildish camping to like reconnect, or I go for a walk, or whatever it is for you, make sure you find that, and make sure you use the tools, you tap into people around you, you find your tribe, you find those things that are going to support you to help you to get to where you want to be.
Yeah. So I like the element that you talked about, which is knowing yourself, really knowing yourself, because when you know yourself, you're not just knowing yourself in terms of your strengths, you're knowing your self-sabotaging behaviors, you're knowing the things that have shaped who you are. And what you rightly said, which introverts are great at doing, and if you are an introvert and haven't given yourself permission to tap into that, I really encourage it, is you stepped away and really went into yourself to kind of find some of those core things that have defined you. So like you said, maybe there were times in your life like you drifted and did things that felt like drifting, and there was no direction, there was no roadmap. Like I say to people, creating your success roadmap is such an important thing. It doesn't mean that the roadmap is full of successes. It just means that you create pathways that allow you to take action to fix things that are roadblocks on the way to the what you define as success. Knowing where you're going is the first thing. So you have kind of built a team, and you have achieved a lot of goals in the tropic world because of these things. Because do you feel that the achievements that you had evolved as you evolved as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's how can you move forward? How can you develop unless you do that develop yourself? And I think having those, you've got your roadmap, you know where you're headed, and life isn't a straight line. It's ups and downs and curves and all the rest of it. So if you know where you're headed towards, if you've got that ambition, that drive, that motivation, no matter the obstacles, the roadblocks, the life that gets in the way, you can always pick yourself up and you can keep looking forward. And I think I've spent, as part of my journey, I've been looking back at what I've been through. And actually, I realise now that's not the place to look. The place is to keep looking ahead, keep looking at where I'm going, and keep it in mind, and never compare yourself with others. We're all on our own journey. I think it's really important to build your tribe, to have people around you, because if you want to travel fast, you go alone. If you want to travel far, you go together. But also recognizing that you can lead horses to water, but you can't make them drink. So people have free will. They have their own choices. And you've got to get to a stage where you are ready and prepared to make the changes. Because, like Einstein said, if you want to, the definition of insanity, keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You have to look inwards. You have to start changing you, because you can't change anyone else. You can't change anything else out there either. You change yourself. So I think that being aware of who you are, looking at things that aren't, that's a self-sabotage, all those things that are holding yourself back, and even when things do hit you, it's your reaction to them that makes the difference, isn't it? It's like, pick yourself up, take the learning, keep moving forward, keep looking ahead.
And I like what you say about reaction. So it's quite key, in the sense that even for me, more recently, I started to look at my emotional reactions, because what happens is emotional reactions are like seeds. And once they bed, they begin to grow a tree that is either taking you where you want to go or taking you where you don't want to go, generating the fruits. So I began to look at my reactions and ask myself, am I associating a meaning to this outcome that is unnecessary for me to associate, so that it then defines the way that I see myself, the way that I act, and the way that I get results? Once I began to ask myself those questions, there was a big revelation of how self-sabotage was happening. So when I get an emotional negative reaction, maybe to something on social media, so take, for example, you post something, or hi Janice on Facebook, glad to have you here. You post something and people don't put likes. You need to tune in. What's the feeling that you're having? And for me, when it's negative, I say to myself, I disassociate myself from that outcome. That's a new thing that I do. I put out the post, like you said. Part of what we do with ambition is to make sure that we are helping people.
I'd really like to add to that, because I think there's several things there. I think it's about learning to listen to your gut and come from your gut. You act kind of been thrown a little bit by that robot voice, but I think some of my poems.
Me too.
Some of my poems I write about fear and love, and I think that another way of looking at it is looking at, okay, is this thought or feeling or action, is it coming from fear, from a place of fear, or is it coming from a place of love? And I think always, if it's a place from fear, well, fear is just false expectations appearing real, so it doesn't exist. It's what you're making up about a situation. So I think park that. Okay, always come from is this a loving place? Is this serving me? Is this serving others? And I think that helps you to kind of move forward as well. I think that helps to make a difference, and listen to your gut. Does it feel right? I've lived most of my life in my head, and now I'm learning to come from the heart and from the gut.
You're right about living intuitively as well, and recognizing the feelings that are coming through and how you're managing those feelings to achieve what you want. I like what you're saying about that, and I like the whole idea behind really seeing what's stopping you from lighting the fire. Because when we're talking about ambition here, we're saying light the spark, and actually self-sabotage is about getting the spark being dimmed, or the spark, disappearing from your life, so that you now place more, you now find yourself diminishing yourself, hiding, or you now question your worth and your value. So the main thing is what we're saying here with what we've discussed is make sure that whatever is going to dim your spark, dim your light, is taken care of, isn't it? So I like that. I like those points you've made. So what are some of the key points you would want any entrepreneur listening to this to put in place to help them raise their ambition?
So some of the things we've already mentioned, but I don't think it necessarily hurts to mention them again. But know your why, and keep reminding yourself of your why. Have a vision board, have it up there where you see it every day, because otherwise it's too easy to get out of bed and drift and forget what you're up to. And it's like, that's right, that's what I'm aiming for. So it helps to keep you going. Find a coach and be coachable as well. Be prepared to make the change, to listen to make the change. Be prepared to get out of your comfort zone, definitely, and just keep going. Have that persistence, that tenacity, that awareness of what's helping you or hindering you, because it is easy to kind of fall back into old habits and the hole and things. So you need to have that awareness and reach out and ask for help. And also, I think it's about being prepared to make the change, to be the person that you want to be, because it's if you just have the wishful thinking, ambition, just wishful thinking, it's not going to get you anywhere. You need to take action, you need to make changes, you need to have that empathy, that compassion for others, and generosity, and just be willing to step out of your uncomfortable comfort zone and be that light, because you're a role model not only to yourself but to your family or to others, or for me, for my team, or future members of the team. You're showing people the way just by who you're being. So I think just live your life by those values and keep going. I think then you can't help but move forward, really.
Yeah. Do you feel that, you mentioned about faith? Do you feel that faith helped you amplify your ambitions even more?
Yes. I mean, it's there's been, I think it helps to give purpose. It helps me to, it helps me when I'm really struggling to reach out to, because it's so easy to fall into that abyss of despondency and despair, whatever, and then it's just to pray. And I think for me, praying has been invaluable for helping me. And I think knowing that you never always quite know how the future is going to turn out, but I think you live by God's will, and you have your direction, and that what you're doing is good, and there's all those Christian values. And I think I've always believed in something. I believed in the universe before, and now I kind of feel that there's something bigger, and I've seen God in action. So I know that He's there, and I know He's supporting me, and I know He's got my back, and that helps me to keep on the straight and narrow, keep going. And so for me, in terms of ambition, I know that anything's impossible, because God can move mountains, and I know that we can, from just a little mustard seed of faith, anything can happen and grow and things. So for me, faith has been really important, but it's not going to be for everyone. But I think if we're not, I think actually just by being prepared to stand up and saying, I'm of faith, and I'm not afraid to say that, and to talk about what I believe in, and it may not resonate with other people. You're going to get people that criticize you and don't and not aren't, don't believe in what you believe and or just criticize you for who you are and things. But remember, coming from that place of empathy, that they've got their own demons to battle, and they're often insecure or have their own issues, and they're coming from their own filter, and it's not actually about you. So I think just believe in yourself, knowing that you're listening to your gut, you're doing the right thing, and knowing that actually in the day, whatever happens, you can handle it. Because I have that faith.
I like that fact, because one of my mottos now, it's not about me.
Yeah.
I say it's not about me, and I must disengage with the outcomes and just go with giving and representing what I plan to represent. So you do have words of wisdom to share, some final words of wisdom. So if you can share that, and a gift that I promised people that you would also share at the end of your session. So please go ahead and share that.
Sure. Well, I'd just like to carry on a little bit for what you were saying in terms of, absolutely, it's not about me, but also it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, whatever else is happening out there, or other people, it doesn't matter. Just, I think some of us can get caught up with worrying about things or getting stressed out about things, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So I think that's a really key word of wisdom. And and I think the overall message is be prepared to make the change. It's not unless you know where you're headed, and then you're prepared to make that change in you, because it all comes from you. So you actually asked me to share one of my poems, so I'm absolutely delighted to be able to share it openly, because that's another part of finding my voice, which is part of my ambition to be able to help others. I need to show the way, and I need to kind of share my voice. So it's quite a vulnerable thing to do, but I'm proud of this poem because it represents a stage in my life quite recently, certainly in the last 8 months or so, where I started to change, and I started to realize actually there is something in me after all. I am, I can start to believe in myself, and this kind of poem sums that up really. So it's a powerful poem for me, and I hope that it speaks to others as well.
Yeah.
So who is the woman in the mirror? This morning, it was a fierce woman, standing in her power, ready and willing to take on the world on her terms. Not just a survivor, but a thriver. A phoenix risen from the ashes in all her glory, staring right back at you. The past hurt, pain and abuse that had kept her playing small, lying all around her in tatters like dust, no longer attached to her, no power in them, only the fierceness of the woman in the mirror.
Oh, we didn't hear that last part again, so I would want you to say it again, because for whatever reason, I don't know what the reason is, but I think our sound system has been playing up. So please read it again.
Okay. Who is the woman in the mirror? This morning, it was a fierce woman, standing in her power, ready and willing to take on the world on her terms. Not just a survivor, but a thriver. A phoenix risen from the ashes in all her glory, staring right back at you. The past hurt, pain and abuse that had kept her playing small, lying all around her in tatters like dust, no longer attached to her, no power in them, only the fierceness of the woman in the mirror.
Wow. I absolutely love that. I can listen to it 3 times. So that's a brilliant poem, and we appreciate you for sharing that. I do want to apologize for this. So if you want to watch the quality one, which I would get edited to be watched, you need to go to the YouTube channel, which I'll put a link so that you have an alternative to watch and not miss a lot of the nuggets that have been shared today by Suzi in the conversation that we've had. And as usual, when we have inspiration to achieve, we always finish with a quote, and we always finish with some thoughts. So here is a quote for you. Ambition is the path to success, and persistence is the vehicle you arrive in. So this is by Bill Bradley. So what you have to do is sometimes you have to unapologetically believe in yourself before anyone else does believe in you. And I think that is very, very key in life, that, your ambition gives you the drive to follow a success pathway to get to where you need to get to. So if you feel that, you want to connect with us, you have a link, you have links to be able to connect with us at the end of this. And if you feel that, yes, I want to raise my ambition, but sometimes, like Suzi says, having a coach made a difference to her life, then I would love to connect with you and empower and help you to be able to achieve those goals. So again, there will be a link there for you to click. You don't have to start big. You start with exploration. You want a session to be able to develop a strategy, then move forward step by step. That's the key to achieving what you want to achieve. Like I said, apologize for the squeaky sound. Not sure what's happening from StreamYard headquarters here. Sometimes you think the message is so strong that the sabotage wants to be strong. But we soldier on despite what technology is trying to achieve, because I know that there's a message here for people. And as we finish the month, I want to encourage you that, like Suzi said, looking backwards all the time is like driving in reverse. It doesn't help you. Of course, your past has a message. It contains information, but it probably might not contain things that will progress you to move forward. So what you want to do is take that information as ingredients to process to look forward. So you want to be driving ahead, but from time to time, you're only looking back to see, does anybody need me to speed up? Do they need to overtake? Do they, that's what we use in driving analogy. So it should be the same thing for you. You can't keep looking backwards. You need to look forward. So as today is the end of the month, I really want to encourage you to persist and start afresh. Park it and start tomorrow afresh, with big ambitions to go big, with big ambitions to keep lighting the fire and keep growing more and more to achieve what myself and Suzi know is your God-given potential, your permission to go out and be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. God bless you, and we're both rooting for your success. Thank you, Suzi, for being a guest today.
Thank
and
you.
bye. Bye to everybody.
Bye.